Doghouse Racing League is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen, open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bars. And don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Are you looking for sports merchandise for your favorite teams, apparel, jerseys, headwear, hard goods, and looking to be involved with NASCAR? Fanatics is your one-stop shop. Fanatics is partnered up with all major professional sports leagues, as well as hundreds of collegiates and pro teams. Join them now at Fanatics. And if you use the link down below in the description, you'll be able to help out the Doghouse Racing League. While using that link, all commissions go to the Doghouse Racing League, which helps fund prizes and goods for the drivers out on track. Thank you so much for Fanatics, and enjoy the show! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Thursday night. Tonight, we give you coverage of the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series Season 1 for 2024. Tonight's race is the round of 15, and it's the penultimate race of the season. Next week, we crown a champion, but tonight could be a clear picture of what the drivers need to do next week to take the championship. But it's going to be a fun one. We're going to some old track for the drivers. Some might be terrified to enter into, but we're excited for it, as this evening's race is the Autopros 175 as Autopros Service Center. Head on over to the Wilkesboro, North Carolina area to go find yourself some great auto service. At Autopros, it's your full service auto center where they specialize in foreign and domestic transmission repairs, and they also can help you handle with all of your everyday needs of auto service. And we will give you more information about Auto Pros later on here tonight, but this evening, an important race, short track racing, going to be some short tempers, some great action. It's all here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth is going to be Zach Hall. And Zach, North Wilkesboro, a track that we've seen in the past in other leagues that we've covered. This track can bring out a lot of tempers, but it is so important here tonight.
So important, like you said, because, 2 races to go here tonight for the season, and a lot on the line still here when it comes to the championship. So North Wilkesboro, this old school racetrack, is going to put on quite the show, I think, for us tonight, especially with how it races down in 1 and 2. You got the multi-grooves down in 3 and 4. Everybody's going to fight for that bottom groove. So it kind of, ebbs and flows of what groove you really want to be in. But I think the big thing tonight is going to be to watch who can make it through the trouble, because this track is notorious for having a few yellow flags. It's definitely one of the places that you can get a green run, but it's also on the side of where you could also have those yellows that really make a lot of short runs.
And such a unique track in general, based off the way that this track was built, as it was a track built on a hill. There are some elevation changes on both sides of the course. Going into turn 1, it's going uphill. Down into turn number 3 and 4, it's going slightly downhill. These drivers are going to have a little bit of help with gravity. Others are going to be hoping that they've got the skills to survive. But coming off of last week's race at Darlington, got to see this driver on screen. It's the 91 of Jonathan Jennings getting back into victory lane after taking a couple of weeks off. Going to be probably one of the major favorites to win here tonight. But the 3 drivers that we need to focus on, the hunt for the championship, it's only between Kevin Thompson, Andrew St. Cour, and Matthew Hayes that are mathematically still in the hunt for this championship. Everyone else, there are not enough points to be grabbed tonight and next week. So it's just 3 drivers, Zach, and it's all been really Kevin Thompson for majority of this season. But the last about 6 races, we've seen the emergence of Andrew St. Cour and Michael Hayes, really showing that they've got a chance.
They really have shown that they've still got a shot at this thing. I mean, Thompson has been rock solid, I think, more than anything. He's just been a driver that hasn't had a lot of problems this season. He's won a lot of races and just hasn't had those bad finishes. And with the old school point system that they use here at Doghouse, a a finish down in the 20s can really lose you big chunks of points. So anything is still possible with those three drivers on the line, but Kevin Thompson definitely the one in the best position with the points lead. We'll just have to see if he can hold on to it tonight because, again, short track racing, anything can happen.
Anything really can happen. As you can see there, drivers are going to get loose off the exit of the corners, but it all starts now with qualifying. How are you going to get the track position to be up front? Well, you have 5 minutes to do so. You have 5 minutes to put down your fastest lap, but only 2 laps to find that quick speed. And some of those drivers that are looking for the fast speed, Kevin Thompson, he's the driver. They've only ran here at North Wilkesboro in the Doghouse Cup Series one time, and it was all the way back last season, 2 seasons ago in the 2023 season 2, where Kevin Thompson grabbed the pole, led the most laps, but ultimately did not win that race. 6, hoping to get a win, and if he does, could be locking up his championship heading into next week. But if we look at the rest of the field, again, Jonathan Jennings is going to be a favorite to watch out for. I think Jamie Horn's going to be a favorite to maybe steal the top spot for qualifying, but it's going to start now as you see Gary Armio, who is hoping for a solid finish. Has been struggling for most of this season for the 7 machine, but here tonight, we'll see where he can qualify with lap number 1 being placed down for the 7. Got to be careful of that outside wall overall, as the first couple of laps are going to be clocking in. And first of all, it's going to be Eric Anderson with the top spot with a 19.1. We'll see if that holds throughout qualifying.
Looks like Bill Gentry going to take that top spot there, just as you said that there, Sam, and Ford looking strong right here in the first laps, but most likely going to see some pickup on that second lap for majority of these folks. We'll see how that works. Yeah, Eric, as I said, that Eric Anderson's second lap around, he's going to jump back to the top spot of the board by 0.02 of a second over Bill Gentry. Now Leroy Koblitz going to jump up to even the third, but a few of the heavy hitters yet to take the track, and I think that's when we may see those times drop down into that 18-second bracket.
Andrew St. Cyr going to be getting their first lap in, 10th on the board currently, but Jonathan Jennings doesn't need a second lap. First lap tops the board with an 18.8, already almost 0.2 faster than Kevin Powell's second lap. An incredible time by the 91 machine, who again is the major favorite to win here this evening, but another one of our playoff contenders to watch out for as St. Cyr moves up to second. Michael Hayes in the 22, usually a driver that's and struggling to find consistency in qualifying recently, even though he's found 2 wins in the last 5 races, hoping to top the board. Here's Jamie Horn, another top contender when it comes to quick speed. We've seen a lot better on the long run for the 98 machine, but right now going to be lap 1. See what placement can be. You can see that pole time. That's Jonathan Jennings, 18.7 is his pole time. Got a little bit faster on that second lap. Horn's going to be 6 fastest on the board after his first lap, but here we go. And the 98 try to steal that top spot.
We'll have to see. He's had so much speed this season. Like you said, he's really found the long run speed lately. So we'll see if a good start position will help him here tonight. So that time going to clock in at 19.017. It looks like that'll hold him in the 6th position right now, with Brendan Fetterplace slotting himself into 5th. Andrew St. Cyr with a great lap. He's going to jump up to the 2nd position. So that's looking strong for him. We'll just have to see where the 6 of Kevin Thompson, when he likes to come out on the track, where he's going to place himself, because Michael Hayes, we were watching, only 15th on the board, Sam. That's not going to be the time that he's liking.
No, but Michael Hayes, he has been showing, even if he has a poor qualifying run, he can get up front. He's one of the better drivers marching his way through traffic. But here is your main driver of the evening, Kevin Thompson. A win here tonight could ultimately has a chance to lock up the championship heading into next week, based on how large of a field we see. This 6 knows how much pressure is on the line for a good finish here tonight. A bad finish keeps that window open for losing the championship on that final race. But for lap number 1, Kevin Thompson going to be taking a little bit of a higher approach through 1 and 2. We'll see what approach we see here through 3 and 4. It looks to be a middle groove. So this is all a setup lap. Here we go. Kevin Thompson, 1 lap to see if he can top the board. They were not expecting a lot of speed here. Going to be one of the slower drivers, 16th on the board on that first lap, but looking for some excellent exit speed here off of turn 2, down into turn number 3. You try to stay low. Try to get close to that apron as close as you can. You exit a little bit higher, and Kevin Thompson hit his marks and across the line. Not going to be fast enough for the pole, and barely going to be just inside of the top 15. 15th, that's a shocker, I would say, Zach. That is right where Michael Hayes was running on time. 15th and 16th for the 6 and the 22.
And that's got to be probably just a mistake. Maybe missed his marks there a little bit because teammates with that 12 of St. Core, who's second on the board. So you'd imagine they have pretty similar setups underneath themselves for that twisted axle. But Thompson going to have to start from the back. But we've seen him this season. He's had a few different abilities.
A little bit tougher for everyone here tonight, but it's going to be seeing these drivers after qualifying is over. We're going to be entering into a warm-up time for the field. They're going to have 5 minutes of a warm-up period to try to get themselves any more practice that's needed, as well as figure out where their pit stalls are. And this also is going to give us a small little period to take a look at our points standings and the way that this season and the schedule's been going so far as we enter in the warm-ups. Let's take a look at our standings entering tonight. Again, Zach, we've talked about how we're using the old NASCAR system, but 100 points this late into the season, with this being the second to last race, this is critical. You have to cut down on this gap.
I completely agree. You can't let it stay the same. I think if you go into the final race with a 100-point gap, you just pretty much got to have a safe race if you're Kevin Thompson. But tonight, I think it's going to be the critical one. If you're St. Core, if you're Hayes, you want to almost cut that in half, I'd say, tonight, so you have about the same ability when we go into the final race. So it's going to be really tricky for sure to try to gain that gap with how good Thompson's been, but with that qualifying position he just ran, it's going to open up the door for possibilities here early.
As we're also seeing some of the other drivers have some decent seasons for themselves. Jamie Horn, 4th on the board in points. Also seeing Eric Anderson have some great runs. But some drivers deciding to not make tonight's race, sitting out, taking a starting park on points, going to be Adam Gardner, as well as going to be seeing the likes of Kevin Brown deciding to take a step back for tonight's race, both having prior obligations. So the field's going to be a little bit smaller, less points to be grabbed, and it's going to be a tough order for themselves. As we take a look at our schedule and how this season, and we've kind of come together to this point. Started off with all being Adam Gardner sweeping Speed Week with the fun dual races, as well as winning the inaugural race at Daytona of this season. After that, it was Jonathan Jennings, Kevin Thompson going back and forth until we got into the later stages of the season, where we've seen a lot of new drivers, some grabbing their first ever wins, with Michael Hayes and Brandon Fetterplace getting into victory lane for the first time in the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. And we also saw Adam St. Core finally grab the one win that we said he needed to get back into the fight for a championship. But it might have to be 2 wins in a row if you're going to take that championship overall, as we have tonight at North Wilkesboro. But next week, the championship race going to be at Charlotte.
I agree with you, Sam. I think if you're St. Core or Hayes, you want to go out here and win both races, because that is just going to maximize the points that you're going to be able to grab. And 2 completely different tracks, so that's going to definitely throw a curveball at that situation. But for St. Core, starting very strong right now, he's going to have, of course, that Jonathan Jennings, who sped so fast this season. It just hasn't had the full season, of course, to put together the points total. But it's going to be a tricky situation if you're St. Core trying to get out front early and try to maybe grab a lap lead to get those bonus points. But we'll see how Thompson and Hayes make their way through the field, because you don't want to go into Charlotte with any type of giant gap to gain.
Absolutely not. As for tonight, we're going to be giving yourselves a little bit of a shout out of how a shout out to the sponsors for this season. It's been incredible to have all these sponsors that have helped out here at the Doghouse Cup Series and just the Doghouse Cup League in general for all the series that they run. I want to say thank you to Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen, offering daily breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You as a guest can count on quality service, delicious food, along with friendly, warm service. Stop on by one of the West Virginia locations to check out the delicious prepared legendary breakfast bar and so much more. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Also a great partner with the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series has been Group 6. Group 6 has been a great place to go rev up your brand's potential with Group 6 at every turn of the Doghouse Racing season. As you're a creative marketing powerhouse, we're here to fuel up your success, accelerate your impact, and steer your brand towards victory. Group 6, where every race is an opportunity to outshine and outperform. Discover more at group6inc.com. That's group with the number 6, inc.com. and also major sponsor that helps financially with the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series and also with all the other leagues and services with the Doghouse Cup leagues is Fanatics. If you're looking to get yourself sports merchandise, if you're heading out to a live event, racing, or other sports, head on over to Fanatics using the link down in the description. All commissions that you purchase through the link help out the Doghouse Racing League with funding the league, with prizes and so much more. Again, if you're looking for sports merchandise in hats, jerseys, hard goods, or more, head over to Fanatics as they're partnered up with all majority professional sports teams, football clubs, and so much more. Go head over again using the link down in the description for Fanatics. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining with us as the warm-up just finishes up. We're about to be entering into tonight's race. Zach, this is going to be a one that I think for a lot of these drivers are excited for. Short track racing is always fun, but might be a little worried about how the cautions might be coming out here this evening.
That's very true, Sam, because, I look back a little bit, and the last 2 short track races we've had, both of those races have had over 14 cautions. So the first 2 of the season were a little bit cleaner. We'll see now if they continue that trend here tonight, or does it clean up a little bit with it being the second to last race as they start to grid.
Starting to grid here this evening, and again tonight is the Autopros Service 175 here at North Wilkesboro. As we take a look at our Group 6 starting grid, taking the pole award is going to be Jonathan Jennings, who's just been always on it when he shows up to these races. This will be Jonathan Jennings' 7th pole of the season. To his outside, it'll be an important start for the 12 machine of Andrew St. Cour. Then in third, we find Tyler Millette in the 94. He's also a very quick short track driver. Kevin Powell hoping for redemption after the last short track that we went to. Then we have Brandon Fetterplace, Jamie Horn, Eric Anderson in 7th. 8th, we find the 4, Bill Gentry. Leroy Koblitz going to be in 9th. And Gary Clune going to be finishing out our top 10.
Starting in 11th, it's the 41 car of Andy Cork. Alongside him in 12th, it's going to be the 7 of Gary Armio. 13th is going to be the 14 of Mark Dumont. 13th is going to be Mark Dumont, with 14th going to Steven Bonomo. 15th place is going to be our point leader Kevin Thompson, with our third place points man Michael Hayes starting 16th. 17th is going to go to Eric Warman. 18th is going to be the 3 of Michael Scamilla. 19th is going to be Tony Martin, and rounding out our top 20 is Richard Leclerc.
Then in 21st, we find the 5 of Hunter Simpson. 22nd position, we see the 27 of Christopher Simon. Cameron King going to be in 23rd. 24th, the 8 of Chris Leftwich. Trevor McLaughlin going to be in 25th, as Mike Leftwich will be finishing out our 26 drivers here tonight. Tonight's race here at North Wilkesboro for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series at the Autopros Service 175. Going to be 175 laps. No stage break, no fast repairs. Only 3 sets of tires in pit road. I talked about cautions and something to maybe worry about later on in this race, because this race, all the way back in 2023 Season 2, was the original crown of the most cautions ever thrown. Now that crown's been pushed around this season, with Bristol having 15 cautions and Richmond earlier having 14. So North Wilkesboro doesn't have that crown anymore, but tonight, could we see the aggression maybe bring out a couple of extra yellows? We'll have to see as this race progresses, but up front, no surprise, it's Jonathan Jennings in the 91, hoping for a great race. Well, so are we, as the Autopro Service is already wrecking, and it's no calamity. Jonathan Jennings is the only one that took off. Everyone else piles in, and the front straightaway is gridlock. And it's all the 12 of Andrew St. Cour self-spinning in front of the field, and everyone else piles in.
Oh man, Sam, immediate wheel spin from the 12, and this is a giant mistake from him here as we go back and take a look. You see he's going to be rolling up in the zone. He's going to get going, and looks like, I don't know, maybe missed a shift, whatever, because he lit them tires up pretty bad and just couldn't get going. And from there, Horn involved, multiple others, is luckily didn't cause too much more of an issue. And there's Kevin Thompson, our points leader. He gets going, but man, oh man, St. Cour there with the major mistake.
And a driver with the most damage going to be the 42 of Leroy Koblitz. Required damage for himself, as you're seeing all these drivers piling in. And such a bizarre moment for the start of tonight's race, but these cars, it's track, it's tough. You easily can wheel spin it. Zach, there's always that worry on the start of these races with cold tires, and it strikes early on here in the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series.
That it does, Sam. That was very unsuspected there, and I went and looked at it, and it was just as he hit the shift from first to second gear, just that immediate shift up there on that banking transition as they exit out of four to come take the green flag. It just sent that car around, and nothing Kevin Powell behind in 93 could do. I mean, all he could do was just push him out of the way, and then Tyler Millette, even from the bottom lane, he got spun up the track. So that was calamity there on lap number one.
And multiple drivers now going to be entering pit road to get service done. Tyler Millette going to be getting service done. Bill Gentry, Andrew St. Cyr, as well as Leroy Koblitz with required damage for the 42. He'll be sitting in pit road probably the longest of any of the drivers. Andy Cork is leaving his stall now, and Jamie Horn was one of the first drivers to enter pit road. A lot of damage for the 98 machine, and I got to say, if anything, you hate to see some of the drivers that were involved with this wreck, but this actually helps Kevin Thompson a little bit because a lot of those drivers that got damage, those are extra positions for the 6 machine, and all that Kevin Thompson really has to do, finish inside the top 15, and you're minimizing the amount of points you're losing here tonight.
That you are, Sam. That is a big sigh of relief that Thompson didn't get, so to say, involved in it too much. As actually he's on pit road getting a little bit of work done on that car, so maybe got a little fender bender up slightly from that, but nothing too bad. But St. Cyr goes a lap down from pitting there. Leroy Koblitz goes 1 lap down, and even Jamie Horn, he's still on pit road, so 2 laps down, coming to 3. So early drivers, top 5 in points drivers, really in a deep hole already.
Michael Hayes is going to be moving up and be one of the bigger movers. Also, Michael Skimia able to move up 9 positions for Skimia, 8 positions for Hayes, and both drivers now inside the top 10. Up front, new front row. It's going to be Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Powell. Going to be your front row drivers for this next restart as drivers are getting ready to go green, single file at this moment. We'll see if they decide to double it up here as the field's getting ready to go green. And it looks like a single file restart here for this go, as it's going to be all Jonathan Jennings taking off. We don't double it up and trying to minimize the amount of issues if someone did have a wheel spin. And we are taking off for the field, and a bizarre moment for the field for themselves because of the timing of that wreck. With how early it was, it just scrambled everyone in the field up here, Zach. But right now, all single file, and it's all Jonathan Jennings.
That it is. Jennings taking off, and he's got Powell behind him. Fetterplace also up the 3rd with that, and Fetterplace won Richmond, our last short track race, so don't count this 20 out. He could very well be in the mix for the win by the end of this thing. He's had some great runs this season, but right now everybody's single filed out with that early single file start.
Early troubles, though. Strikes in the back half of the field. The 27 of Christopher Simon falling down to 22nd position. Major damage for the 27 machine as he found himself spinning out off the exit of turn 2. And he'll try to continue to race on, but dealing with some rear end. And it looks like some wheel issues for the 27 machine after slapping the wall. But up front, they continue to race on. And bizarre, single file restart, but sometimes that's needed for short track racing to get into a long run. It's for everyone to have that spacing.
I think after that initial start, everybody was kind of happy they went single file because everybody somehow now was able to make it through. And they're right on board with Kevin Powell. He's getting to see the leader, Jennings, start to eke out just a tiny bit of gap. You see there in the top right corner of our screen. He just ran the fast lap of the race there in that 91, also at a 19.138, which about a 10th quicker than anybody on the track. So looking very strong right now early for that 91. Same for this 93 as they've opened up the gap even to the 20 behind them.
Kevin Powell here tonight. I know when we think back to that last short track at Richmond, I know under his interview, this 93 was hoping for a long run. He felt like that's where the strength was going to be for himself. And right now, trying to prove that he can get into victory lane this season. Doesn't want to go winless. I think this might be one of the best chances for Powell to grab that win in victory here for the 2024 season 1 for himself. Talked about, some drivers surprising us this season. Eric Anderson, I mean, this has been probably one of his better seasons overall in the Cup Series. His yellow flag is out, and it's
Thompson.
trouble for our championship runner, our leader in points. The 6 spins out on the front stretch.
That he does, and oh man, that was from contact with Leroy Koblitz, and that was some heavy damage that the 6 is taking here. So early troubles for our points leader here, Sam.
It's going to be a bizarre moment here. You're going to see Koblitz kind of snap loose, make contact. I believe there's a slight neck code, but even if there was a neck code, I think that 42 is going to hit the 6 either way. Gets stuck in the wall for a quick moment. Well, right on board with the 6, and you'll see he's just driving along and then gets tapped and spun around.
Yeah, that's like you said, the 42 there just getting loose and coming down into that 6. And like you said, it was a little bit of an echo, but regardless of that net code, I think that contact, like you said, Sam, was going to be happening just because of the rate of progress that the 42 was coming down the racetrack towards the 6. So that was tough break for our points leader. And I tell you what, the way he hit the wall and the way he got stuck in the wall, that really hurt that right front fender and split it on that car. So he's going to have to get a ton of work done. Luckily for his sake, it is a short track where those things are not the most important. As you see St. Cyr actually getting back on the lead lap, that's critical for him. But you know, Sam, this is definitely not what Kevin Thompson wanted to see early for himself.
Absolutely not, and this is going to put Thompson 1 lap down. As well as we take a look at the weather temperature on track heats up. It's now 120 degrees on track. The wind is, staying pretty moderate. It can handle from there, but humidity is up to 67% for themselves here this evening. But expecting to see maybe that track temp heat up a little bit more as this race moves on. As like I said, seeing St. Cyr back on the lead lap, that is massive for himself. Also going to get a little bit more damage to repair. But for Kevin Thompson, this is not what he needs right now. This is the mistakes and issues that you try to avoid at all costs on a race that's so important before Charlotte next week.
You're exactly right. I mean, now a ton of adversity for that 6 to come back through. But, it looks like from pacing here, he's decided to just not go down pit road and get it fixed yet. So, because like he already said, he went a lap down from that incident, getting stuck in the wall. I think if he came down and tried to get it fixed, he'd probably go even more than a lap down. So I think that's kind of the decision making there. It looks like Jamie Horns got back out on the track too earlier. We were talking about him sitting on pit road, so he's going to be 2 laps down. Bill Gentry also in 25th, 2 laps down. So early right now, the cars from 21st on back, all laps down.
All having issues for themselves, but up front, Jonathan Jennings is feeling great. Same for Kevin Powell, and as well from Brandon Fetterplace and Eric Anderson. Those are the only drivers that qualified inside of our top 10 that are still in our top 10. Excuse me. Also, Gary Clune is up there as well. Rest of the field, some have salvaged a way to get through some of these early cautions, but we're back to being stacked 2 by 2 for this restart. We'll see if we find any issues this go around as Jonathan Jennings going to attempt the outside row for this go. Pace car into pit road. We're into the restart zone, and we are green for the Autopros service 175. Jennings is gone. Powell is straightened out, but it's 2 by 2 from third on back.
And it is 2 by 2, like you said, and Fetterplace here on the bottom trying to clear that 43 Eric Anderson, who, like you said before, Sam, was having such a good season, top 5 in points, just very sneaky the way he's had some runs this season. But it looks like he's dropping back as drivers underneath him. The 45 of Gary Clune trying to move forward, almost contact between those two as they head into one.
Almost contact, but they're willing to maybe use a little bit of the fenders here tonight if you need to make some big moves, as right on board with the 7 machine of Gary Armio, trying to make any movement forward as he's seeing some wiggling action. That's the 45, and oh no, it's Anderson going around in front of the field.
43 goes around, and looks like from some contact there off the front bumper of another driver. And again, when a wreck happens on the first straightaway here, Sam, with that inside wall, there's not a lot of room for these drivers to miss it. So tough break here as we get to look back, and I think it was contact between Clune and Eric Anderson that kind of washed him down into the 9 of Stephen Bonomo here.
Just drifting up, slight contact off the nose of the 9, but then bounces back up in the field, and it's huge contact for Trevor McLaughlin. And then able to come to a stop, and everyone else gently tiptoes around the 43, and that contact and wreck, massive, but that should be the caution that was needed to put Kevin Thompson back onto the lead lap as we ride on board the 18, just nowhere to go. Didn't slow down, and oh my goodness, also there was the 60 machine of Mike Leftwich, hard contact after the fact.
Yeah, he took a heavy lick down there in turn 1. I'm not sure if he got hit from, oh no, he just lost it trying to miss Anderson. Actually got clipped by Anderson. So yeah, you're gonna see here he gets clipped. He's trying to save it, gathered up, and when these cars bite, they bite right. And man, he just completely head first into the wall there for the 60. But it's lucky for himself. No meatball flag, no required damage. The only driver who comes out of that with required damage is that 43 Eric Anderson. who was having such a great run to start.
I feel like everyone's getting our commentator's curse right now, but the 91 of Jonathan Jennings, and it's one of those nights where, some drivers they muscle their way through even with all the bad luck that could be thrown around when we're trying to give kudos to the field due to giving the contact of that wreck. Steven Bonomo has been gifted an end of the line penalty for the 9 machine, so he'll have to start all the way in the back. As the rest of the field, some getting repairs done, others settling in for now. Surprisingly, I'm checking to see if the 6 going to be deciding to make the decision to go into pit road, Zach, and it looks like for Kevin Thompson, pit road might not be calling him because he found that he doesn't have to at this time. I think the only reason we're going to see Kevin Thompson maybe go into pit road might be for tires later on, or if he feels like that engine is going to expire soon.
I think you're exactly right. He's so far back. Actually, right now it looks like he will come down this time, following actually his teammate is St. Corso. Looks like they will come to pit road. The concern, though, I think with a lot of people here they have is at Wilkesboro, these pace laps are done pretty quickly. I mean, we're looking at around a 41-second, 42-second pace lap here around this track, and that doesn't give you a lot of time to get to pit road, get service done, especially if you're near the 20s back in those positions. It makes it very, very close. And as I say that, Thompson is now just leaving his box as the car gets to the start-finish line. So luckily he's going to stay on that lead lap, but I think that's a lot of concern for people especially when they're getting damage repair done, is staying on that lead lap with how fast the pace laps are.
And these drivers have 3 extra sets of tires in pit road to work with, and it looks like for the 6 machine, it was 4 tires and fuel. And sometimes when you're dealing with damage, having fresher tires than everyone around you is the only way that you can kind of get on equal footing or get a slight advantage over the rest of your competition. But up front, still Jonathan Jennings, and we are going to see if Jennings can hold this spot. But will there be any pit stops? Going to be another question as we are back to green flag racing. Jonathan Jennings, a fabulous launch for himself. And once again, it's all side-by-side racing for third on back.
That it is. Everybody stacked up. Looks like Federer is trying to clear that 45 clean. Just can't do it. As it's going to be Schemia in the 3 up to the top 5 for him, with Armio in 6 right behind him. But from there on back, from the 14 of Mark Dumont, the 22 of Michael Hayes, it is a hornet's nest here from that 8th position backwards.
Trying to take all the spots that you can right now, and Michael Schemia is making this outside lane look perfect for the 3 machine. He gets by Armio. Now it's going to be Michael Hayes trying to get by the 7 machine to slot himself into 6th position. And Michael Hayes is moving forward, but Chris Leftwich in the 8 machine got a little bit giddy there with Mark Dumont, as there was almost contact between the 14 and the 8 machine, as everyone's trying to find their footing here at such a unique track. As Armio once again breaking loose, going to be losing even more positions. That 7 just does not look comfortable out there tonight. And also seeing different lanes being used. There's Tom Martin on the very outside, almost wall riding here at North Wilkesboro. You got to be careful getting too high, as the 2 might have gotten pushed up a little bit too far up. But again, 3 and 4, it's tough as Mark Dumont gets spun around.
Dumont goes around off of 2, and I don't know if that was from contact or such, but man, oh man, yeah, actually was contact between him and Armio there. So just a hard racing incident here. And I think when we go back and see this, I think the 14 is going to kind of squeeze this 7 a little bit here off the exit of 2 and almost put him in the grass. And I think really Armio nowhere really for him to go here. As you're going to see, Dumont clears him into the entry. The 7's going to have the better run through the inside, but you can see just squeezing him all the way down to that grass. And really, there's nowhere else for the 7 to go. That turns the 14 around, and man, look at that hit on the rear bumper, just ripping it off.
It's one of the worst spots that you could hit on the track, is that inside little opening, because these guardrails have 0 give. I mean, none of these walls do. None of these walls are safer barrier walls, as this scan was before the new updates that they've done to the track in real life. But just gets clipped, spun around, drifts back, finds the worst spot, and a hard contact for the 14. Mark Dumont, not required damage, but enough to rip up that back bumper that is no longer there.
That's exactly right, Sam. That back bumper has left the building, so to say, and luckily, like you said, no required damage, and that's something he'll take. I mean, we'll have to see how much that hurts the car, of course. Don't think it'll be too bad here at the short tracks, but definitely another caution here to give that 6 at Thompson maybe another shot to come down and get a little damage repair. Looks like hasn't came down yet, but definitely I think if you're Jennings, your pal, Federer place up here, with these constant yellows that we're getting like this early in this event, you're not going to see these guys hit pit road for a very long time if this continues.
Yeah, I mean, 70% fuel load was what these drivers are working with here tonight on an open setup. So drivers have the ability to make small adjustments if they want to come into pit road and get service done. But that fuel, the fact that it's only 70% they're working with, it's going to be the question of will they get enough cautions and will the tires be beat up enough for you to decide to enter pit road. But I'm curious if we can bring up our race report again. 33 laps in for tonight's race, and already 4 cautions in the book. We've got a little bit over half of the race that's been ran so far. It's been under yellow flag conditions. And Zach, this is a racetrack that in the past here for the Doghouse Cup Series has shown it can build up the most cautions. This was one of the first races ever in the Doghouse Cup Series that had more than 10 cautions. It's going at a rate that it might shatter its current record of 15 yellows that they had earlier in the season at Bristol.
That was one thing I was concerned. You know, that's the possibilities you play when you come to Wilkesboro. This track, very tricky. It always seems to be that the exits to the corner are a little bit looser than most short tracks. You just have a tough time putting the power down, so you get those self spins and those drivers making the mistakes that sometimes even lead to contact that causes spins. So it is definitely something you can see happen frequently here, continuing on the night. But at some point, we know how the Doghouse Racing League is. These guys will get them a longer green flag run.
We should get one at some point. We're expecting at least either at the halfway marker or maybe after it. As green flag is out, Jonathan Jennings, great launch like always. He's figured out that outside lane already. Kevin Powell willing to settle, but it's the drivers that are back here, which was row number 3, getting a little bit frisky, but also seeing Gary Army on the 7. He has been looking a little bit out of control. The 7 hasn't looked comfortable. We're seeing other drivers giving a bump, tap. Eric Warman wanting to give a shove. And we're seeing some other drivers that are wounded, have been involved in wrecks, trying to hold on. Further on back, there's the 2 getting loose. But Zach, it just feels like we're waiting for the next yellow with the way these cars look out of control.
There it is. Mark Dumont around and look, no yellow yet. So we're going to stay green here. That somehow, I don't know how that did not bring out a yellow, but Dumont's going to get the car spun back around. I believe also was the 9 of Bonomo there who was involved in it. I think we'll take a quick look back to see how that happened. Or no, it's not sorry, not how that happened, but it just really was a stack up once again here, down into 1. Everybody on top of each other. One driver gets in the back of another, of Bonomo, and then from there, Dumont's going to get hit from Jamie Horn. It's going to knock his front end off, and it just shows you Wilkesboro having these drivers giving them a tough time.
Very tough time, and somehow that wreck did not bring out a yellow flag. We are back to live coverage. Seeing Steven Bonomo trying his best to just continue to stay inside of the top 15. As up front, the challenger and the challengee is Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Powell trying to pull away as far as they can. They see Mark Dumont right in front of them. Other close battles that are happening on track is the battle for 10th place, as well as on screen, seeing the battling between that of Michael Skimia and also Warman on top of one another.
Drivers all over top of each other, and they know at any moment, if a caution flag flies, it's Tony Martin. Big drift off of 4. He locks it down and saves it. But sorry, he goes into the corner, and he's going to get into the 41 of Cork, I believe.
That's King.
King,
yes, nowhere to go, and King once again an innocent victim, and he just is getting bullied for the last 4 races this season. And once again, losing major positions was the 92. And Tony Martin just looks like those tires are gone. Something's not right. He just cannot turn on the end center of the corner, and he's just going up to the wall every single corner he goes into.
Seems like his car very, very tight in the center, Sam, and then loose off. And what a lot of that condition happens is it pushes the front tires, and you got to put more left turn and crank on that wheel. And then when you try to get on the gas, it's almost like you got the brakes on sometimes with how tight it is, and it just snaps the back end out. As you see, he's going to get passed by Cameron King, who's just saying, man, let me get by, please, here. I didn't mean to get into your mess. But now he'll go by and see if looks like drivers farther back, Millette starting to come through as a couple lappers here, too, involved.
A couple of lappers just trying to get their positions back that have been quick. Tyler Millette, one of those that was quick but caught up in the early troubles. Up front, it is still the fight between Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Powell, as Powell has been waiting for the long run to finally clock in. That's when the 93 feels like he's at his strongest. Just trying to run down or at least stay somewhat close to the 91 of Jonathan Jennings. Other close battles that are happening on track, happening back in third and fourth position, Gary Clune and Brandon better place. Clune having one of his better runs, even with the early scares the 45 had.
He really is, Sam. This is an excellent job by him. Already getting some early track position. A little bit of condition there, not able to get the drive off like he wanted there, but Fetter Place trying to maybe set up some type of pass back on this 45. But yeah, the 45 looking good, and I think that bodes well for even his teammates, you know, in the 6 machine, also the 12 machine to get farther up here in the field. So we'll see if those two can make their climb, so to say. But right now, Clune having one of his best races of the season.
Trying to run down the 45. Gary Clune, again, last season's Rookie of the Year award winner. We thought we were expecting to see a lot of great things from this 45. It was having a lot of early troubles, but here on the second to last race of the season, it's one of the best times to start to find your momentum as the drivers continue to race on. One of the drivers, though, of our 3 hunting for the championship for tonight and next week, you've got Michael Hayes, one of the few drivers that's been able to stay out of trouble this here tonight. Runs in 6th place. And with Kevin Thompson back in 13th, that's still a big enough margin that you can make a pretty good dent into the championship hunt for this 22. But obviously, you'd love to be further up and finish inside of our top 3.
Completely agree with you there, Sam. I think if you're Hayes, you're liking the situation right now because you started 16th. You know, you did have the greatest qualifying run, which we noted on. He's had that kind of all season long, not the greatest qualifying, but it always seems like in the race they get that car fixed up, get it right, and right now he's in 6th, gaining points on his competition. And you know, it's not the biggest gain, but I will say this: any gain he can take out of it tonight, that is going to be a bonus because it'll at least open that door for, you know, nothing to get locked in, so to say, here tonight.
As we're seeing the battle again going on for 3rd place, Brandon Fetterplace sees his first opening, trying to go to the inside, go to the 3rd lane. Might be the 8 machine if Chris of seeing the 8 machine, but caution flag is out, and it's Leroy Koblitz coming to a complete stop. He was having some internet issues, it looked like, or some connection issues. He was blinking for the past 4 laps and finally just took it to the side of the front stretch, parked it, and decided to call it an evening potentially here, or at least take a pause to go figure out what's going on for the 42, and stopped on the front stretch, right out the yellow, and we're under our 5th caution of the day.
Ah, man, that's so unfortunate that brought out the yellow there with Leroy, you know, having to come to a stop there on the front straightaway. The others probably would have hoped he got that thing to pit road. That way we wouldn't have had this yellow flag to bring us all back together, because it seemed like we were getting that first opportunity at a long run. But look at this, Jennings, he says, you know what, tires are needed. He's coming down, and I'm surprised by that. And look at that. I think you're seeing some others stay out. You're going to see Fetter Place. I believe the 8 of Chris Leftwich, he's going to stay there. But more are following, like Hayes, the 45 of Clune. So not the worst positioning if you're Jennings in them, but this will put you farther back in the field.
Well, I also think that this track, surprisingly, has a lot of wear and tear on the tires. I think not hitting at this point might be hurting you. We also have smaller field that are on the lead lap. The majority of the drivers that are on the lead lap deciding to go into pit road, get service done. I like the call for those drivers. Those that are staying out, this is a risky call for Brandon Fetterplace, Chris Leftwich, Eric Warman, Tyler Millette, Trevor. Also going to be seeing Trevor in the 18 and 5th not pitting, nor are we seeing Tony Martin. I think that's the biggest surprise for me, the 2 not pitting. Watch out for that 2 machine. He's going to have very old tires.
I don't know if I called down the screen. We had a man levitating across the screen, so having some wild incidents here tonight. But yeah, Fetter Place going to stay out. And Sam, I think the hit on what you said is critical. This track does actually, for short tracks in the next gen, it does have fall off and does have wear. So if you are Jennings, you know, coming out 6th is not the worst condition. I think the only thing you'll be concerned is if an incident, of course, happens in front of you with these guys on the older tires. But still, with the smaller field here, not as many people staying out. That should be the right call to make here. I think he'll just have to hopefully, you know, pick his lanes very wisely here coming through, because if you never know when someone could have that mistake on these older sets of tires with you coming through on the new set.
55 laps are almost done for us here tonight. 2 drivers have called it an evening. So we are down to 23 drivers, 22 still out on track. Cameron King is still in pit road getting service done. Leroy Koblitz as well as Jamie Horn have called it an evening. And as I say that, though, our 3rd driver calls in at night. That's Cameron King. We're left with 22 drivers out on track. And with every driver that drifts away, and that's more points that are going to be taken away from some of these drivers, maybe hoping to gain spots on Kevin Thompson. And Thompson going to be in 8th place. But watch out. Thompson decided to just top off on fuel and now going to be in front of the 22 of Hayes, as well as ahead of his teammate of the 12. So this is going to be one of the more critical restarts of the night. Our old tires going to compete with new. Gonna have to watch out for our top 5. Can they hold strong with the freshies behind them ready to take off? 56 laps in of 175. And your leader gonna be Brandon Fetterplace in the 20 machine on the outside, waiting for the pace car to pull off. And here we go. We are green here tonight for the 20 machine of Brandon Fetterplace.
Great start from him. He gets an early gap here, but we'll see what do the new tires do. Jennings up there on the top side, the first one that's going to be coming through. He's behind McLaughlin now to the outside of Warman, and he's going to have so much speed here. And luckily with the 18 dropping low like that, that's going to open up this outside lane for him and possibly open the door to go even farther forward.
Trying to find the opening to make this outside lane work, and it currently has worked out to grab a couple of spots. Now trying to grab his 2nd position for the 91 as McLaughlin gets out of the way. This is helping out the 91, but for Kevin Powell, that 93 machine in the orange is just trapped. He's trying to get by this wall. They're 3 wide behind, as well as Michael Hayes gets by Tony Martin and trying to put the pressure on the 6, but Powell trying to stay attached to Jonathan Jennings, and that's probably the best job he could have asked for, is getting by those 2 drivers in just a corner and a half. And now Kevin Powell is on the pressure to catch up to Jennings, who still has 2 more drivers that I'm not expecting for them to just lay over for.
Oh, for sure, Sam. These guys are going to race for that position. I just don't think they're going to have the tire, and you're going to see here early. This is one of the benefits of this older surface of North Wilkesboro. We do get the tire wear when it comes to this racetrack, and it allows you to come to pit road, get tires, and be able to come back through the field. So it's a little different than what we see at some of the other short tracks here on iRacing with this next-gen car. And right now, look at Jennings looking to the inside off of 2. He's going to have an easy pass here heading off into 3. And just like that, Powell's going to try to make the pass for 3rd. And you can already see the new tires just too much for the older ones.
Didn't take long, just a total of 5 laps, and Jonathan Jennings is back to the lead, trying to pull away. Kevin Powell still trying to figure out how to get by Brandon Fetterplace. Will Fetterplace just stay low, or will he go high? And it looks like both drivers will run the same line. Kevin Powell's going to be held up for just a quick moment, but trying to set up for a move later on. Trouble, though, further on back, and it's Mike Leftwich on the back stretch, sitting on the inside grass, trying to get pointed straight as our leaders will be driving by the 60 here very quickly, and it's trouble for the 60 machine, but we stay green at the moment.
He gets back onto the racing surface, and looks like he gets it fired back up as we'll stay green as everybody navigates by him. He'll bring it to pit road. And you know, the thing I've been watching here is the 6 and the 12 both taking fuel only there, Sam, on that stop. This has kind of put them in a predicament where now they got the older tires and they got to hold back some of these drivers on the fresh ones that are really being aggressive right behind them.
Well, the only thing, though, that's kind of helping them, it's the fact that their tires are not as old as Brandon Fetterplace or Chris Leftwich. It was under the last caution that both the 12 and the 6 took 4 sets of tires, and so they're still in a fighting zone. Right now, more of a defensive lines, and they have the tires to defend, just not the tires to attack to take some of these positions away. But Kevin Thompson, also Andrew St. Cyr, they got to be careful, but also it's going to be Skimia behind. Hard luck up for the 3 as he'll lose all the positions. Will stay green, but a hard slammer for the 3 machine, and that slide going to hurt these tires. Got to watch out for how he's going to be running for the next couple laps as Michael Hayes. He's now moving up to 5th place. He's got his sights set on trying to take 4th and 3rd position.
This is perfect for Hayes right now. He's loving what he's seeing. He's like, man, I got these fresher tires now, getting even more track position out of that, and he's closing into Leftwich and Fetterplace here, who haven't been running solid lap times on these older tires, but at the same time, I think Hayes about 2 to 3 tenths quicker each time than these two should be able to easily get by. I think the biggest thing for him is he's going to hope he gets it done before we get a yellow flag.
Yellow flag, if it's going to be thrown, most likely it's going to be for the battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th currently, as McLaughlin and Warman have both been making contact between the 2 of them, and right in the mix is Kevin Thompson, also St. Cyr, both trying to hold on, but the fastest driver in this group is the 45, Going to be seeing how Gary Clune can try to navigate his way through, but right now he's got the slower driver in front of him. They're stacked 2 by 2 throughout 3 rows.
Clune now going to look to the outside of the 6 here. He's teammates with that 6 of Thompson, so probably going to race him pretty clean here and be pretty cordial. But also behind them, Millette, he's trying to make big things happen. Simon's coming to the outside of the 12, and they're going to be 3 wide as Andrew St. Cour said, I am backing out of that situation.
Well, looking like Super Speedway is stuck in the sucker hole and going backwards was the 12 for a quick moment, and now going to be seeing Gary Clune still putting the pressure on the outside of the 6 machine. And the whole entire outside lane, they would love to go forward, but Eric Warman is blocking all 3 lanes. They're going to go 3 wide, squeeze. Tyler Millette didn't want to be patient, and he'll spin around Gary Clune and others.
Man, oh man, that was just a pinball situation there to 94. Coming through, didn't want to wait, like you said. He's going to try to make the pass. He gets up into the 6. The 45's there on the outside of the 6, and we have that quick incident there. So, tough break because Clune was having such a good run here early, but it just shows you make that pit stop sometimes and get you back in this mix. And right there, like you've seen, 3 into 1, not going to work there.
And for Gary Clune, his race went from probably one of his best runs that we were just waiting for. We knew this 45 had speed, so now his race could be over. Required damage for the 45. We're going to see here the aggressive sliding down. There was no way that Tyler Millette was making that corner. Uses up the 45. We're going to stay on screen because Gary Clune tries to take off here, and I believe he gets clobbered. Yeah, there it is. Tony Martin just flying on the outside. It hits both Simon and Clune, and that's where the required damage came for the 2 and the 45.
Oh, man, and it looked like the 2 hit the 27, actually, and then from there, net code damage just destroyed that 45's right front there. So, man, just crazy scenes here from North Wilkesboro already, and it just shows you again, nobody's safe here, man. You get involved in an incident, and all of a sudden somebody else is running into you. So it's one of those situations where you gotta stay focused here. And right now, there's a few drivers who definitely are going to be a little upset after that incident. Like you said, I think Millette really too optimistic there. That was never going to work. I mean, he pretty much made, the old saying is 8 tires are better than 4, but he pretty much did 12 tires there almost, because that was quite the dive in there.
And with the drivers involved with this wreck, there is an incident limit. Drivers, if they're caught up in too many wrecks, will get disqualified. And our first disqualification goes to the 14 of Mark Dumont. He is officially out of this race. Gary Clune sent to pit road with that required damage, and that will be our 5th driver out of this race with Mark Dumont. Andy Cork, also going to Cameron King, Leroy Koblitz, and Jamie Horn out of this race. And like I said, every driver that gets knocked out of this race, this is helping out the 6 machine of Kevin Thompson, because it minimizes the amount of points that he's going to be losing if somehow he falls outside of our top 15.
You're exactly right, Sam. I mean, right now, 20 cars left out on track, so looks like at worst you could finish 20th, and that could continue to dwindle. I mean, we got others like Martin still on pit road, is getting his car worked on, going laps down. So if you're Thompson, you're liking that people are dropping out there quickly. Now, you didn't like that you're involved in that latest incident, of course, because that's about the 3rd time you've been involved in one tonight. But at the same time, you're definitely liking that drivers are dropping out of this race quickly, because that just doesn't give the opportunities for points to be gained as much.
And looking at that number, 17 drivers are out on track, still getting service done. It's Tony Martin, who just left pit road. Same for Gary Clune, and Mike Leftwich is in pit road still. Where green flag is back out. Jonathan Jennings doesn't wait for anyone, and he is pulling away from the rest of the field. Other drivers, Tyler Millette, who was just involved with that wreck, he is pressuring forward in 3rd position. Rest of the field trying to hold steady, as we're seeing a lot of wiggles off the exit of the corner. These drivers are not comfortable right now.
That they are not, Sam. Everybody trying to find the grip, get these tires fired up. When you have those caution laps, they cool down, the grip fades away, and right now everybody trying to find their way forward. But right now that 6 having a tough time trying to clear these cars, but I think those older tires, that damage is piling up now. As Better Place, I believe he came down this last time, and he's got his freshest set of tires now.
And same to the driver who was outside of 31 of Eric Warman. That's why Warman's on the bumper. Contact, Discamia, holding steady. It's a 31. They'll go 3 wide for a quick moment, but allowing now Brandon Fetterplace to have the better position now to go to the inside of the 6 machine. And a few other drivers taking tires on this most recent stop. Also going to be Andrew St. Cyr that lines back in 11th place. He's used 2 sets of tires for the 12. He's got 1 more set before this race is over.
That's the key there, Sam. You gotta save those sets, and you gotta count, make sure you have the right amount left for the end of this race. But right now, St. Cyr, who has been, I think, on the less aggressive side here, he's been kind of backing out of a lot of these situations, trying to survive. I think after that start of the race, he's like, man, I just need to keep my nose clean now and make sure I don't make any mistakes to make, this race compound to be any worse.
Tony Martin now officially out of this race. We now have only 16 drivers out on track currently, and we'll see how many more of them will survive before this race is over, as we are halfway through tonight's race. And you're seeing a couple of more drivers trying to make some big moves. Gary Armio moving up to the 12th place position, but up front is all Jonathan Jennings. This race has been a crazy one so far, as you're now seeing Kevin Thompson, Warman, and fresh tires pressuring the 6. And this is feeling a little bit like deja vu for Kevin Thompson. Stuck side by side. Will someone force it 3 wide with the 6 machine again?
He definitely doesn't want to see that, because he knows the outcome most likely it will be very similar to what we've seen before. Luckily for his sake, I think he's got St. Cyr, his teammate, right there on that bottom side. Follow him. I don't think St. Cyr's gonna make that giant of a move on him here. But I tell you what, that 8 of Chris Leftwich, he's trying to make that pass quickly, and now even the 7 of Armio, and it's just shown again, these fresher tires that a lot of these guys have over the likes of St. Cyr and Thompson are definitely working.
They certainly are, as right now the highest runner of the freshest rubber that drivers just took is Brandon Fetterplace in 5th place. He's 3.2 seconds back, though, from Jonathan Jennings, but Fetterplace is on a battle with the 22 of Michael Hayes for this 4th place position, as Fetterplace can have the better tires, placing himself down below in the 20, trying to make his march forward to sweep the short tracks ever since he joined halfway through this season.
He has been very, very strong, really, for a lot of this season. And, if he would have been here for the full season, he could have been possibly in the likes of where Michael Hayes, St. Cyr is trying to run down Kevin Thompson for that championship lead. But nonetheless, I think if you're Fetterplace, your eyes are all forward on trying to win these final 2 races and build as much momentum for yourself heading into that next season to try to go fight for the championship there. So we'll see if the fresh tires after he's got around Hayes here is able to produce the lap times to run down the group ahead of him, because right now Millette, he's done a great job of gaining all the track position back from that early wreck. He is right on the back bumper of Powell.
Right on the back bumper, and now going to be putting the pressure on Kevin Powell. And we almost had another caution being thrown. Trouble for the 7 of Gary Armio that's forced into pit road after a big slide on the backstretch 2 laps ago. And luckily, because it stays green, it allows Tyler Millette to be on the back bumper and try to put the pressure on Powell, which for Millette, with the slight contact all around, it's kind of, deceiving to know what contact may influence the driver's handling and which contact doesn't, especially with the way this next gen drives. I mean, Zach, you drive the next gen on our Wednesday night series at WSSR. These trucks, these cars are so unique on the way that they take damage.
Oh, for sure. These things are so different than any other car out there, really, when it comes to the service, especially when it comes to the stock car side of things. It's been a whole new learning for a lot of these guys. And I think really the big thing that you worry about when you drive these cars a lot of times is not even the front end damage, the rear end damage. It's a lot of times about the wheel wells. You don't want to get hit in the tires, because you can easily snap those toe links, and those things will be evil, man. You break one of those, you got required damage, and you got to come and fix it. And a rear toe link change can be upwards of almost 9 minutes, so it's a ton of time lost, especially when you're running 19 seconds around a short track like this.
A lot of damage could be cycling up for these drivers as we are into a green flag run, seeing some fresh tire battles on track. Here's going to be Eric Warman finally able to get by Trevor McLaughlin. McLaughlin, though, doesn't look like he just wants to give this position up, as the 31 has been fading backwards slightly here, and the 18, even with all the damage he's been collecting, still in a fighting position. St. Cyr also in a spot. These are all 3 drivers with some of the freshest tires on track, trying to race between one another as cleanly as they can, but this is for 7th position between these 3.
This is some great racing going on. And St. Corey's left his teammate of Kevin Thompson and really made his charge forward. So great job by St. Corey here. And I think also he came down that last time and did get tires. So not surprised to see that 12 moving forward as we see now the 6 here. Thompson, he's going to lose a position. It looks like to Richard Leclerc and Bonomo even catching up as Thompson having a little bit of a struggle here.
Struggle dealing with those old tires and the damage he's been collecting throughout this race. I'm not surprised that he's starting to fall back into the clutches of these drivers just inside of our top 15. As this race progresses forward, I think this is probably going to be one of our few times to take a commercial break. Your leader currently right now is the 91 of Jonathan Jennings, leading over Kevin Powell as well as Tyler Millett. This race continues on for the Auto Pro Service 175 here at North Wilkesboro. You're watching the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. We'll be back right after this. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You're watching Season 1 for 2024, race number 15 of tonight's season. Tonight's race is the Autopros Service Center 175. If you are finding yourself in the Wilkesboro, North Carolina area, and you need help with any automotive issues, go message Autopro Service Center, for your full auto service center. They specialize in foreign and domestic transmission repairs, but they also can handle any of your everyday auto needs. They are ASE certified technicians on standby to help you at any time of your need. If you need to get in contact with the Autopro Service Center, message them on contact at their phone number of 336-322-3230. Again, for Autopro Service Center, you'll message them at 336-322-3230. Thanks so much for being today's race sponsor for the North Wilkesboro race here this evening. It has been all Jonathan Jennings since we got into this long green flag run. And Zach, one thing I'm curious about, do these drivers need to make one more pit stop? Because majority of the front row, they pitted 60 laps ago, and we still have a little bit under 60 laps to go here tonight.
It's going to be close, actually, Sam. I think, they had that caution in between there to kind of let them stretch a little better. I think if you're better placed, St. Court here, you're definitely, or Chris Leftwich even, you're liking your position a lot more when it comes to fuel here to make it to the end of this race. But, I kind of say it's going to be close, I think, for Jennings, Powell, and those likes, because the 70% fuel load is going to make things very, very difficult for these drivers. And you can see here, St. Court, I think he timed the pit stop perfectly, Sam. He waited to take the tires on that next one, and he felt like this was going to be the time to do it, and it's gone forward here for him as he's going to be getting up into the top four. And the likes of his teammate of Kevin Thompson, yes, he is in 10th, but he has now gone a lap down also with Jennings just with the speed he has.
Yeah, for a lot of these drivers, it has been a tough run overall on trying to make some of these big passes, as Andrew St. Court has made the pass over Tyler Millette. Now that slots the 12 into 4th place for himself here tonight. Steve Bonomo, as well as Kevin Powell, they've had their own issues with Powell trying to keep up with Jonathan Jennings. Hasn't been able to, as the 9 machine going a lap down, and not even the first driver one lap down. Well, a lot of this field, we started with 25 drivers. We're down to just 19 out on track, and only 9 that are on the lead lap. And with this being the penultimate race of the season, the 3 drivers of note that are still running for a championship being Andrew St. Court in 4th place. Also, the 22 Michael Hayes running in 7th. They're both trying to build up as big of a gap on track to the 6 of Kevin Thompson, who is our points leader entering into this evening. And where these drivers run right now, it still would be mathematically possible for the likes of St. Court or Hayes to win the championship next week, but it would be a very tall task, and asking for Kevin Thompson to have his worst race ever. They might need the 6 to have 2 bad races in a row to have a chance at this championship.
They very well might. And, if you're St. Court here, this is critical for him to get up to better place, in my opinion, or even the likes of Powell. If he can go up here, get a top 3 finish, and we can see Kevin Thompson, finish 10th to 15th. I think Core will gain a good bit still, but like you said, he's still going to need troubles then from the 6, because we know how strong Kevin Thompson is. If he has a clean race when we go to Charlotte, he's going to be right in the mix in the battle for the lead and stuff. So I think if you're St. Core, you got to hope that you can gain every little bit here, but I think he's done a good job here to really gain on the guys in front of him, a little bit faster and better placing, but a little bit slower. Or actually, sorry, that last time by was a little bit even quicker than Powell. So maybe that 12 will have the speed, but the 17 and Leclerc goes around the back straightaway. I don't know if that's going to bring out a caution. He's bouncing against the wall. We'll see when he gets his spun around here. Will this bring the caution? I think that will.
Still no caution, but now it will be thrown, and this changes everything. How will these drivers make this hard decision? I think we're expecting all the drivers on the lead lap to enter pit road. And for Kevin Thompson, he lucks out. He should be getting the lucky dog position here.
That he should. And I tell you what, it was about a lap or 2 away from McLaughlin going down. So that would have took that lucky dog away from Thompson. But we'll see, there was Leclerc right behind Thompson. He was running in that 11th position, spun it around, coming off a 2, and He's going to try to get it back going, but if the only way to not get that caution to come out is if he spun it around in the grass and got it straight. Once he got back on the racing surface, once those cars went by, that was always going to bring out a yellow.
And because of being the cause of the caution, the 17 will be gifted an end-of-the-line penalty, but also 3 laps down. It's just been a tough run, as the rest of the field going to be entering pit road, except for one. Andrew St. Cyr looking like he will not be entering pit road, staying out to 12.
It's a risky call, but I think the reason why he is going to make that decision is, I believe, Sam, he's only got 1 set of tires left. So I think he feels like we may get a few more cautions here, but the problem for him is, Millette having major troubles there. So he's having to back up and go forward multiple times to get his box straight. I think the major problem for St. Cyr is, he's going to be at such a pace disadvantage here once we go green that if we do have a longer green run, he could go a lap down.
Yeah, could be going a lap down. I think also staying out is a good call for the 12 because he hasn't led a lap yet here tonight. That's 5 extra bonus points that's needed for the 12 that can assist him for the championship hunt later on. And we'll see if we do get that quick yellow that maybe St. Cyr is hoping for here tonight, as we have 50 laps left here this evening. The 12 of St. Cyr is going to be the first driver, is going to be the lead driver for this next restart. And this is the first time we're going to be seeing Jonathan Jennings in second position for a restart. We haven't really seen him try to time with other drivers, and we already saw in our initial start of the race, drivers can wheel spin and have missed shifts. Could we see another one here tonight? As we say that, though, St. Cyr goes into pit road to get service done.
I think, like you said, Sam, he wanted to get that lap led. So you get the bonus points for that, get the lap led. Now he's going to come down here and really not lose too much from this, because Kevin Thompson, he's the lucky dog. He's going to have to go to the tail end along this line with that. So this should slot St. Cyr in around the 8th position with fresh tires. So that's a good look for him. But again, everybody in front of him is going to have fresh tires. So these passes are going to be a little bit harder than the last time.
AC in chat just tapped in. Who is your favorite driver? Who also do you think has a chance to win here tonight? Currently, it's been looking like Jonathan Jennings is the heavy favorite, but when we've seen Kevin Powell and Jennings be on close on these restarts, it's been quite close. With Powell almost having a chance at moments to try to ship it down below, but also curious what Brandon Fetterplace's speed's going to be like. Or will we see another yellow? It could change up the strategy of when you want to come into pit road. A lot of situations starting to mount up with less than 50 laps to go. This race could conclude very quickly without any of these drivers realizing it, as everyone's stacking up. We're going to get one more extra lap because some of the drivers were still trying to get into the right place, as St. Cyr, he's got to find his way into the right position for himself, because we only had 9 drivers on the lead lap, and technically the 12 is supposed to be in 8th place position. He finally gets in the right spot. All right, now we're all cycled up. Zach, this is going to be our next restart.
That it is going to be the next restart. And I tell you who's glad that they got that lucky dog. It's definitely Kevin Thompson, because also once he got the lucky dog, he was able to pit and get those fresh tires. Yes, he'll have to start to tail in the longest line all the way behind the drivers, the 19 cars out on track. But the biggest thing for him is he will have a fresh set of tires to try to go attack.
Also, another driver out there is Jamie Horner, trying to grab any couple of positions of drivers that have called it an evening, as green flag is out for Jonathan Jennings. Also going to be Kevin Powell trying to pull away, as the rest of the field slightly stacked up, not able to get rolling, as Michael Hayes having a little bit of a misgo for the 22, and it might cost them greatly on positions, as Andrew St. Cyr making that outside lane work for the battling for 6th and 7th place.
Those two know every position is points, and they are not going to, give them up easily, as here comes St. Cyr around the outside, trying to use the pace of that car, goes up the hill, and now is going to try to get the drive off of turn 2, and I think will clear this 22 heading down to 3.
And the 12 going to go extremely wide, but what will the 94 do? We're already seeing Tyler Millette willing to send it 3 wide and make some contact. Doesn't look like he got the run that was needed for the 94, but Hayes blocks defense, pushes up the 94, but also trying to set up a pass on the outside, not able to do so, and Hayes will just settle in 7th position. Up front, it's still Jonathan Jennings. He's already up to a half a second gap lead, as this battling for 7th place just won't go away.
That it will not. Hayes knows he can't let these drivers get ahead of him. He needs to get as many spots available to him as possible, because right now, if he slots back to 8th, he's only 1 position ahead of Kevin Thompson, and that's not going to get it done when it comes to gaining points. And right now, Millette going to clear off of 4, put Hayes back to 8th. That is not what the 22 wants to see.
And Jonathan Jennings just continues to put fast lap after fast lap down. Another fastest lap of the day goes to the 91 as Michael Hayes fights forward, still not wanting to give up that 7th place position as Kevin Powell, I think he might just have to settle for 2nd, defend Chris Leftwich and Brandon Fetter place, because no one is touching Jonathan Jennings unless we see a major mistake, which we haven't seen at all. And it feels like maybe seasons. It's been a long time since Jonathan Jennings has ever made a mistake. It might have to be a lap car that gets in the way for the 91 for him to lose this thing.
He has looked so dominant tonight. Definitely showing the pace that we've seen from a lot of times during this season. It's just, you know, has had some troubles here and there with a few other issues, and it's caught him out. But right now, looking very, very strong with those fastest laps being put down. But you know, I went back and looked at it, Sam, because right now Kevin Thompson about 11 seconds behind our leaders right now. That is that's not good for him, because if he continues to lose time, there's caution.
Caution, hard contact. Michael Skimia and Tyler Millette make huge contact off the exit of turn 2. And the 3 and the 94 try to get rolling. But it looks like Tyler Millette breaking a little bit loose. And after the fact, hard contact between the 3 machine.
Big time loose into 1 and 2 for that 94, and comes down the racetrack into the 3, and Schemia nowhere for him to go, as we get to see here exactly what it looked like from the onboard of the 94 here as he comes down into this uphill turn. Just seems like he loses it right there. And again, this next gen, when you correct the car like that, it just goes when it catches, and he sees he rolls back down the track, just going to make a major contact with that 3, and both of those drivers going to have major damage. Both require damage flags.
Both going to have to go into pit road, and that's going to be an extra position given to Kevin Thompson. And Thompson's day started with a nightmare, and it might conclude with a miracle, as that hard contact made both the 3 and the 94 forced into pit road. But with all these drivers drifting away and not a lot of points being grabbed, I mean, Zach, Kevin Thompson, even with what we were going to talk about on the fact that he was losing so much time to our leader and was at a point where he was almost about to go a lap down, he'll keep the lead position. He'll take a position with Tyler Millette out of this race. The 6 is minimized now to he might just win the championship here tonight if we see any issues for the 12 or the 22.
You're exactly right. He's minimized pretty much every bit of the loss that he has had. And right now at the moment, I mean, he's only losing 4 points to, you know, the likes of Hayes, and then another 8 to, you know, St. Cora. And that's not going to get it done. These guys are 100 plus back. You know, they got to be gaining 30, 40, 50 points of chunks of a time here during this race, because we head into next week and you expect to gain that 100 points. I mean, you pretty much are looking where you got to finish upwards in the top 3, and then have Kevin Thompson really fall outside the top 25 or really the top 30. And, you know, we'd have to have that many cars show up. So it's going to be a tough margin to gain, and we'll see how it shakes out. It could be a win for these drivers, must need it for these drivers to maybe gain the points.
And now a must win. With the way that we've been seeing Jonathan Jennings racing here tonight, it might be impossible unless there is a major issue. I mean, the one other time that we've seen Jonathan Jennings dominate a race and then be taken out in a bizarre way, I think back to Dover when he was leading the race and there was a caution that happened and the leaders caught back up to where the wreck was, and Jonathan Jennings was involved in the wreck. I think that's the only way that Jennings may lose this race.
That, or someone gets into him. I mean, he's had such good race starts that it's going to be hard to get into him. I don't see the 93 really getting into the 91. I believe these two are teammates. You know, they work together. So this is you know, a great run for both of them. I think at the end of the day, if you're Kevin Powell, you'll take second.
It certainly looks like that's where these drivers are at. They'll take with what they are given here tonight. We got 9 drivers on the lead lap, and it's time to go back to green flag racing for the Autopros service here tonight. 175. Jennings gone down into turn number 1, but it's the battling for 2nd, 3rd, 4th that's underway.
Great start here again from Jennings, but Powell, he's going to be under threat. Here comes Fetter Place. He's going to look to the outside, the 8 of Chris Leftwich, and look at St. Cor making big moves here, already up to 5th on the start from 7th. That was a huge gain from him, and that's what he needs to do. As you see Thompson in the background, he's possibly going to try to make the pass on the 22 of Hayes, but just I think that damage is hurting that 6.
I think there might be some engine damage, just loss of power for the 6 machine. It's just not able to get up through the gears as quickly, and also just not able to get onto the throttle as much as everyone else can. And Brandon Fetterplace now going to be in the better slot to get the pass done. Or 3rd position as Chris Leftwich tried his best to make the outside lane work, but crossover move for the 20. He's now in position trying to slot his way forward as St. Cyr now going to be trying to woo that 20 forward. This is one of those awkward moments where you're trusting whatever lane you get in that they're going to be the one that moves forward. And it looks like the outside row conquers over the 20 machine of Fetter Place. He'll slot into 4th. And here we go, single filing out for our top 7 and majority of the field. Not a lot of movement on where these passes can be made.
I tell you what, we get Chris Leftwich up here, up in this front row or this front 2 rows. He's one of the most aggressive drivers out there. His caution's out. It looks like Jamie Horn and Andy Cork.
There you go. Exactly what might have been needed for a caution flag to reset and change this race up. And it looks to be the 60 machine of Mike Leftwich going for a spin on the front stretch and give a scare for Gary Clune, but that's the caution we were talking about. Hey, if we can get Chris Leftwich in a position, could change up this race, as we're going to be seeing the 60 machine. It's off the exit turn 4 here. It's going to go for a little bit of a spin. Give a scare for the 45 for a quick moment, but gets into the throttle, loses the rear end, does a slight pirouette 360 before getting rolling again.
Good job by Gary Clune there, just to let the 60 pretty much spin right off the nose of him in front of him and get slowed down. So great job by Gary Clune to miss that. But yeah, just the 60 of Mike Leftwich there, getting a little tight in the center, probably gassing it up right there, losing it. And look at this, 45, just an excellent job getting it slowed down and getting to the right of that ring.
Getting it slowed down, getting it working for himself. And at the time of this yellow, it is strategy time. We've got 3 drivers willing to take a chance on pit road. Chris Leftwich, Eric Warman, Michael Hayes making their stops, 4 tires and fuel, and gonna have a slight advantage over our top 6 drivers.
We'll see how big that advantage is here. You know, not too many green flag laps on these tires, but it is it definitely can make a difference. And if you're Hayes, you kind of got to do this. You know, I think that's in the biggest mindset for him is like, hey, I gotta gain spots. I need something to help me here, and we'll see what it amounts to, because now this is with the pit stops. It's allowed Kevin Thompson to push up 5th.
Other drivers willing to make a stop, going to be Steve Minomo, who's going to get some service done for himself. But as we're coming up to 25 laps left in this race, we're going to take another look at our race report. Tonight's race, we had a lot of cautions at the beginning, a lot of cautions here late. The middle, we got a little bit of a green flag run, but only 9 cautions in total. And I got to say, Zach, I mean, kind of surprised on the fact that it's only been 9 with the ways that we've saw the early portion of this race go and the way that the end of this race has been aiming towards. Looks like they're not going to hit that marker of breaking the record in cautions, but I think they could breathe a sigh of relief on that, because there was that worry entering tonight.
There definitely was that worry, Sam, I think, and especially after the first 40 laps, really. You know, we were sitting at about 5 cautions already, so it's cleaned up a lot here, and got to give everybody a ton of credit. I mean, we've seen a lot of issues for drivers. I mean, right now, there's only 10 cars on the lead lap, you know, and that just shows you what has happened out here tonight. It's been tough for a lot of people for the going, and right now we're getting to see you know, pretty much a shootout down to the end here, and everybody pushing hard. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we get a few more yellows to add in there.
Taking another look at our weather conditions. When last time we saw earlier in the race, it was 120 degrees on the track temp. The air temp was around 80, and now it's cooled off quite a bit as we are getting closer to the evening dinner time. But the cloud coverage also has been helping a lot. Less than 110 degrees. Still warm that these drivers are dealing with on the track temp side, but much cooler, a little bit more extra grip, and I think that's what's been helping out. Jonathan Jennings here late, but green flag is out. Outside lane tries to get rolling, but a little bit of wheel spin for the 12 of Andrew St. Cyr. Does not have the opening to try to stay attached and conquer for a second position. It's Kevin Powell fighting right on back for the 93.
St. Cyr here, this is big for him. He needs these spots. If he can go up and get second, that's going to give him a ton of points. But he gets loose off of 4, almost has that same early spin like he had on the initial restart of this race. Luckily, he gathers it up, holds on the third, but here comes Better Place. He's going to take a look to the outside of the 12, who looks to be struggling to fire those tires back up.
Trying to make that outside lane work is the 20 machine. Chris Leftwich, though, really making the pressure forward. Again, Chris Leftwich, freshest of tires of anyone. Decided to pit under this last yellow. Everyone else, about a 20-lap difference on tires. The 8 trying to make the move forward, put the pressure on, but he gets loose. Chris Leftwich around. He'll hit the inside wall. Back up onto the track. We stay green as he's still in the grass. And a little bit of a spin. Throw it away. Now your new driver with the freshest rubber. It's the 22 of Michael Hayes, who has not been on the aggressive push.
That he is not. He is letting them come to him, letting the tires warm up. We'll see what he can produce here once they get a little bit more heat in him as he's closing, trying to close down to that top 4 positions. But Kevin Thompson behind him battling with Warman, trying to hold on to a top 6 position. He's going to slap back now to 7th. So right now, points are being lost from the 6th, but not the most.
Not the most, and also having the big spin by the 8 machine. That's another position for Kevin Thompson to close in on that gap. The only issue for the 6 machine is that he does have Steve Bonomo expected to take at least that position, and that's the furthest back we might see is Kevin Thompson back to 8th place. For the 22 of Michael Hayes, he needs to put the pressure forward, as we're also seeing while riding on board the 22 is the fact that the 12 St. Core is trying to set up this pass for 2nd place. And Kevin Powell continues to defend in a perfectly defensive line, staying low and not giving an opening for this 12 machine that we hop on board with. But caution flag is out, spin behind, and it's going to be Christopher Simon, and he is absolutely ruined, is the 27.
Oh, man, Sam, that was a big hit down in 3 and 4, and I don't know if he got contact from the 60. Yes, he did, actually.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, big contact actually from the 60 left, which we'll get to see that here as they're going through 1 and 2 this time here, but it's going to be this 27 here, a little bit slow down the back straightaway. Not got the most speed, but here comes the 60, and I don't know if the 60 knows what's going on. He gets into the back of him, and look at it, it just shoots him, I mean, dead right into
But then
the
here
wall.
comes the 8 machine, just wasn't sure if the 27 was going to continue to creep down or hold position. Thought he was going to creep, and sends the vehicle up into the outside wall as Chris Leftwich. We ride on board with the 27 of Christopher Simon. Again, it's behind him. You're going to see in the mirror of the 60 just closing in. And we're looking at the gearing, seeing if there's any mistakes that maybe popped up that really slowed him down. Looked like he was just running his own lane and got shoved into the outside wall.
That he did. That was a heavy hit, guys. I mean, if you're Simon, he's had some excellent runs this season. This is going to be one that he's going to want to forget here back in the 16th position. And as we're on the pace laps here, pit road is open. It looks like we do have some takers. It looks like the 6 is going to come down here to pit road.
And that is, I think that's perfect for Kevin Thompson. He needed those tires. Also get a little bit more damage repair, and he's not losing too much time. He's going to still be, with the lead pack in 9th place. And it's going to stay as our top 9 as the lead drivers. 7 machine of Gary Armio will be given the Lucky Dog spot, but he's still 2 laps down, even with the Lucky Dog position. So take a look at our top 5 currently. It's Jonathan Jennings, Kevin Powell, Andrew St. Core, Brandon Fetterplace, and Michael Hayes, your top 5 currently. And St. Core looked like he was trying to look for an opening. But now with the fact that Chris Leftwich is out of this race, I don't know if we have any other drivers that are really willing to risk big moves, because all those drivers that we talked about in the past that are willing to maybe push someone, make a diving move, they're out of this race, or they're multiple laps down.
That they are. This is definitely going to be, I think, some clean racing, to say the least. And, if you're St. Core, you kind of do need to get your elbows out just a little bit here, I think, just to try to get whatever you can, especially knowing your teammate Thompson just came to pit road, is going to restart back in 9th. Thompson's going to be on the chart. We know his car is definitely damaged and hurt, but those fresher tires are going to give him a little bit of a speed boost there to try to go forward here. And if you're Thompson, every position matters. Same for St. Core and same for Hayes. It's going to be that way till that checker flag drops in Charlotte.
As the 60 machine of Mike Leftwich has been given the end of the line penalty because of that contact. And Michael Hayes, again, he pitted under our last yellow. That was 15 laps ago. Curious on what the aggression level will be on this takeoff, knowing that we're going to be 11 laps to go, and it's go time. You have to make the passes now. You cannot be patient anymore. And also, while you're being aggressive, you got to make sure you don't spin out. But up front, Jonathan Jennings, Kevin Powell, They've been the top two drivers up front all night long. It's been the fighting back and forth for third and fourth. Now it's St. Cyr as well as Brandon Fetterplace. Green flag is out, and it's all Jonathan Jennings up front. Fetterplace trying to set up the pass on the outside. St. Cyr will settle in as well, and Eric Warman in that fifth place position as the field exits turn number 2. It's all on Zach. Who's going to be in those top 3 positions?
St. Cyr a little deep into 3 and 4 is going to move the 20 up the track. He's going to clear him now. Here comes Warman to the inside of the 20. Michael Hayes right behind this group and needs to get going, but he's going to go too deep into 1 and 2, up into the wall. That's going to open up the door for the drivers behind, but luckily nobody close enough to take advantage.
And the next driver in line is going to be the 9 machine of Stephen Manomo, and he's just not close enough, nor is the 18 machine of Trevor McLaughlin. McLaughlin's going to be just settling back, but the driver that's on the move is the 6 machine of Kevin Thompson. Thompson got to minimize as many positions as he can as he's up to 8th place and seeing the likes of 7th and 6th in the opening to try to run down his teammate, and that's all in the eyes of the 6. You get as close as you can to the 12, minimize the gap that's being built, being taken away into next week in a championship. It's practically in your hands as Michael Hayes slams the wall. There's another position for the 6 to grab.
Oh man, that is not what Hayes wants to see. Now as the 9 goes by, and here comes the 6, and the caution's out.
Caution flag is out, and it's for the 4 machine of Bill Gentry as Bill gets loose off a 2, tried to save it, and spun out throughout the whole entire straightaway.
Tried to gather it up there, but just could not do it. Here comes off of 4. There you go. See, it's going to snap here for 1 second as it looks like maybe going to happen here, maybe off of 2, actually.
It's going to be off at 2. He's just going to snap loose. He's trying to save it, and then dumps it on the outside wall. Luckily missed the gap by a little bit, but that hard contact gets Gary Clune. Slight wall damage. And this is going to be putting us in a shootout window with around 3 to 2 laps to go before this race is over.
Like you said, shootout window now, and man, oh man, this is going to make things crazy. But look, another look at it is, look, he's almost found that gap. And here comes Clune's going to get clipped by it, but good job by Leftwich and others to make it through that. But this is just setting up even more possible drama on the line here. I mean, Jennings has been lights out on the restarts, so that's going to be tough for, like some power St. Cyr to have a chance. But man, oh man, this is definitely go time if there ever was one.
I think you can almost wave the white flag. This is Jennings' race to lose, and we've been saying that for most of the night. But the question now is in the hands of Kevin Powell. Will he get a good enough launch to hold off for 2nd place, or will St. Cyr be able to move into that position? This also helps reset for Kevin Thompson, but I think for Thompson, kind of was hoping for more green flag laps because he saw a wounded Michael Hayes starting to really fade. Steve Manomo was struggling. Those were 2 positions that could have been grabbed for Thompson. Now it's going into a shootout type of a window. It takes away those laps, takes away the chances of making those passes. But, I mean, Zach, if you're the likes of the 6 for Kevin Thompson, you already know you've succeeded in your mission. Finishing inside of the top 10 was already a huge saving mode of not losing as many points as you could have with the way he started out this race.
No doubt. When he was stuck in the wall, it was going to be an uphill battle all night long. So, like you said, I think for him, even if he comes out of here 8th, that's going to be almost a huge W in the bank account for him, because that's just, really minimizing the losses, so to say, because it could have been a lot worse if we didn't have so many people knocked out of this race, so many people hurt, laps down. He could have been in much bigger trouble here tonight in the loss of points. But I think if he gets out of here in the 8th position, it's not going to be two down from that 16, because they know they minimized as much as they could that loss here tonight.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, into Inside the Regulation, green, white, checkered. We are not into overtime just yet, but if we get a caution before the white flag, this race will become, if we get a caution before they take the white flag, we will head into overtime, where we only have 1 overtime attempt. But if we take the white flag, this race becomes official, and Jonathan Jennings hoping for another fabulous launch like he's had all night long. Has Kevin Powell figured out the timing? Let's find out. Pace cars into pit road, and the Auto Pro 175 is underway. Jennings already up to a car length and a half ahead of the second place battle of Fetter Place and Powell as they exit out of turn number 2. It's Steven Manomo who got an excellent run on the outside, but it's all going to be Jennings for now. Powell's trying to fight, but St. Cor gets in trouble, sends up the 9, holding on for now as they take the white flag. The 18 spills for a second, but it's not enough. White flag is in hand. This race is official.
That it is. This race is going to be official. Jennings looking strong to make the win. Powell not close enough. Fetter placed the 3rd, but it's St. Cor fighting Warman.
Warman is trying his best to try to move up into any better position, and it looks like 4th place is his, and a 4th win given in hands of Jonathan Jennings. Dominance is the only right word to say as a win goes to that 91. And you look at that leaderboard, a lot of positions are shaking up. Steven Bonomo gets disqualified right when they take the white flag, and Kevin Thompson finishes 6th. That's a worst case scenario for Michael Hayes, who finishes 7th. And also for St. Cor that finishes 4th. That's not a lot of points being grabbed all around, and actually points being lost for the 22. For the few drivers excited, it's your 1st and 2nd place finishers of Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Powell. Congratulations to those top 2 drivers and Brandon Fetter Place. We'll talk to our top 3 and a spotlight driver right after this. We'll be back for our post-race show. Wide with one another as side-by-side racing continues on. Christopher Norris has been able to move up 3 spots for himself. Dakota Moniz, another driver in the 5 that's moved up 3 spots. And for Dakota Moniz in the 5 machine, this race is so critical because the driver he's runs, Christopher Norris, and all defense incoming contact into the outside wall. Everyone's got to get around. Norris locks it down, but the second pack is rolling in. It looks to be almost contact, and it is. Major one for the second pack. The admins have to throw the yellow, and that will be your first caution of the day.
Oh man, Sam, that was a huge collision. I don't know who caught, hit Norris in that second pack, but it all started up there with Christopher Norris and Ali Fonseca. It looks like coming off of 2, making some contact. I don't know if it was Netco actually. So then when we go back and look at this, you'll see that as they come off the exit of 2 here, it's just going to be a gap between them. Puts Norris up in the wall, and then from off the wall, here comes the 38 down off of it into the 24, who's going to slam that wall off the right front of his truck, and then Norris is locking it down, sliding across. It looks like that was the 14 Arizari and Tyler Dangler.
Tyler Dangler, who was tied in points for the cutoff line. That major damage is going to be critical for himself. Required damage for Tyler Dangler, and that one incident wreck on lap 17 could be the ends and hopes of Tyler Dangler trying to make the playoffs.
That is so heartbreaking for Tyler, who's had a season of ups and downs and some bright spots. You see right here for GT.
He is already a car length and a half ahead of Danny Cochran and Vincent Sora.
Great start there for John Forbes, but I think down the back straightaway, he's going to find out real quick how strong this draft is here, as the 2 is going to have a massive head of steam here heading down into 3 and 4. What's he going to do with it? He looks to the inside, but the 11 shuts the door. Now the 15 of Vincent Sora, teammate of Danny Cochran's going to look to the outside of the 2.
Trying to bounce to the outside, not able to do so just yet. Gonna have to settle back in line, utilize the draft. Vincent Sora stays high, gives an opening for Cody Reed for a quick moment. Cody Reed backs out for a better option, but John Forbes stays too high, and now the teammates, they'll stay in line on the inside groove. Cochran gasses up, stays full throttle, and gets a bump draft from his teammate. It's going to be seen. Vincent Sora and Danny Cochran working together on that inside groove as the 2. He'll keep his nose ahead to try to lead a lap here.
Here we go. Going to try to lead this lap.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting's post-race coverage of the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Race number 15 is in the books for the Season 1 2024 season at North Wilkesboro, and heading to victory lane, the most winningest driver in the Doghouse Cup Series, Jonathan Jennings, gets into victory lane once again. This 91 machine looked like it was on rails all night long, and Jonathan Jennings, welcome back to victory lane. It feels like it's home for you most of the time as the most winningest driver in the Doghouse Cup Series. How do you feel after this one? Because this one looked pretty easy from our point of view.
Felt good. I wish we would have ran more green flag laps, but we're gonna take a look and see what we can do to fix that. But yeah, the car was great. Thanks to my teammates for having me work on it.
Yeah, definitely like a great car out there tonight, Jonathan. I mean, how difficult when you have those yellows like that, how difficult is to, change the timing up on all those restarts to make sure you got the gap, because you really had those restarts really down pat.
That's always a concern, but you don't have 20 feet of restart zone here, so I kind of knew where I was going. The difficult part was deciding to pit for tires. It's always like that at the short tracks. The leader usually gets the short end of the deal.
Well, the timing certainly worked out for you here tonight, Jonathan. We've got one more race before this season is over, heading to Charlotte. What's the confidence level heading to that course next week?
I like Charlotte. It's more of a home track to me than Darlington, really. It's closer anyway. But yeah, last time we had a good race there, so hopefully we can do the same.
Well, we're hoping to see that as well. Well, Jonathan, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
You guys for the broadcast. I like watching it. Y'all do a great job, and Daniel and all the admins for putting stuff together every week, and the series sponsors, Shawnee's, uh, Simpson Design Shop, Fanatic, and Group 6, and of course my teammates for their hard work.
Well, that will be the 91 machine of Jonathan Jennings grabbing another win this season. Congratulations, Jonathan, on this win. Enjoy it, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
As we move away from victory lane, we head down to second place, where we get to talk to Kevin Powell, who had the speed at moments, but will come away in second. Kevin, strong run here tonight. I know those restarts, they were a handful, trying to hold back the rest of the drivers behind you, but how are you feeling coming away with second?
And mixed emotions, man. I'm happy with the finish. I'm just a little frustrated with the cautions. I feel like maybe we could have got something done on the long run. I know Jonathan was way faster than me, but when we come down to the end right there, and we were having all them cautions, I was having to defend that second place from pretty good fast drivers. So I didn't want to push the issue too much trying to win, and we could get the team first and second. So I just went on defense there at the end.
Definitely did a good job of that defense then, Kevin, man. You held on to pretty much second for majority of the night, I'd say. And, a lot of the strategy was kind of up in there. How did y'all guys go about, deciding when was the right time to pit?
Well, we knew we didn't want to pit under green, and when we got in that long green run, me and Jonathan, we were talking about a caution would be good right about now. We've had so many. Why can't we get one now? And sure enough, a lap later we got that caution, and we decided to pit, and we were gonna just run it out from there.
I mean, Kevin, certainly was a strong run for yourself and the team, but how are you feeling heading into next week, Charlotte being the last race of the season?
Ah, man, Charlotte, with these next gen cars and going to these mile and a halves, it's anybody can win these races. I mean, I know the aero plays a big part, but uh, it takes the driving away. These cars take the driver away, so it's basically just hold your foot down and lift in the corners and hold your foot down, and you really don't have to worry about getting loose or any of that stuff. So hopefully there'll be some tire wear and tire fall off. Maybe not as much as we would hope for, but I'm looking forward to it, and we'll practice and we'll build a good setup, and we'll come and see if we can get a win or at least get the team another win.
Well, we cannot wait to see how yourself and the team are going to perform next week, Kevin. Before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, I want to shout out you guys with the broadcast. Y'all do an excellent job, and we've been very pleased with everything. And give a shout out to Jonathan for getting that win tonight. He was fast. To be honest, maybe if it would have stayed green, he probably would have lapped me too. But he's always fast. He sets the bar for us. So we're just gonna work to get better to try to get as good as he is. And shout out to our sponsors and uh, all the fans watching and all my teammates and everyone that helps us practice and build these fast cars to bring them to the racetrack.
Well, that'll be the 93 machine of Kevin Powell coming away second. Congratulations on that, Kevin, and good luck next week at Charlotte.
Yeah, thank you guys.
As we move from second place, we go down to third for another driver that really had to fight and defend for every position that he had to go for. We got Brandon Fetterplace with us. Brandon, you certainly had an adventure of trying to stay inside of our top 5 at moments, went with the off strategies. I mean, how are you feeling coming away with a third place finish here tonight?
I mean, honestly, I couldn't be any happier. I am terrible here, so anything, I mean, in the top 10, I was going to be happy. I'm just glad I didn't pack it into the fence.
Definitely did a good job of not doing that, Brandon. So again, congrats. Looks like this will be your 4th top 5 of the season. Definitely some amazing runs you had, but take us through those restarts because they got very wild down at the end. Everybody going for really everything.
Yeah, I'm all the restarts. I was not liking that. I'm not very aggressive. So so these restarts, these guys would get pretty aggressive because it's hard to pass. So you need to get all the positions that you can. And I'm just glad that I didn't get wasted or, knocked out of the way or I didn't wreck anyone else. Just trying to play a little bit of defense. And got a little hairy there with the 12. I thought for sure he's going to pay me back for Kansas whenever I wrecked us both out, but he took care of me and where do you finish at? 4th? Yep.
Yeah, finished 4th right behind you. But Brandon, we're going to a mile and a half. We've seen your strength at mile and a half, so you've been very quick there. We're also heading to Charlotte with our final race of the season. Excited are you to race next week and also with the new season? Are you expected to be coming back for that season?
I am a big fan of Charlotte. I like Charlotte. I run well there most of the time. I don't want to talk myself up too much in case I, wreck, but um, there's a lot of fast guys in here, and I feel really comfortable at Charlotte, so I'm pretty excited for that. I also am looking forward to coming back next season. I'd like to run a full season and kind of see where I stack up. Like I said, there's a lot of fast people in here, so it would be nice to see where I come out compared to some of the talent that's here.
We're excited to hear that you're coming back for another season, Brandon, because we feel like you would be one of those threats for a championship. Congratulations on third here tonight. Before we let you go, the floor is now yours.
Thank you very much. Thanks to you all for the broadcast, obviously, the league admins for all that they do. Thank you to the 12 for not taking me out in turn 3. Thank you to Max Graphics. I don't thank him enough for his killer wraps that I put on this car. Other than that, hey, we'll see y'all at Charlotte.
Can't wait for it. That's going to be your third place finisher here tonight of Brandon Fetter Place. Congratulations on third and good luck next week.
Thank you very much.
As we move from third place, we head to our spotlight driver, going to be 5th place finisher of Eric Warman. And Eric certainly had an evening for himself at times, had some great duels with some drivers here tonight, and ultimately will grab a top 5 finish. Eric, congratulations on 5th place. I know it's been a tough season at moments, but 5th place, how are you feeling coming away with that finish?
I'm just really pleased to finally got a top 5. Like I said, it's been a kind of a rough season for me, up and down, mostly down, it seems like. But hey, we're going to praise the Lord no matter what.
Definitely a great run there for you, Eric. Man, congrats on the first top 5 of the season. It was a race of a lot of yellows and having to change strategy up. How did you stay on top of that all night?
I just kind of was trying to do the opposite of what everybody else was doing and being a little bit off sequence. It's just something I kind of normally do. Just try to take a little bit of advantage here and there.
I mean, it's been a fun season to see your speed, Eric. I know there's been a lot of tracks where you've been fast at. With tonight's finish of 5th place, how much confidence does that help you to carry over into next week at Charlotte, being the last race in the season?
I'm just gonna go in there and do our best, and whatever happens, we praise the Lord no matter what.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform next week. Eric, congratulations on 5th here tonight. Before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any shout-outs.
Well, first off, gonna thank the Lord for giving me this talent. Thank you guys for broadcasting. Thank you for the league. Daniel, Jonathan, Kevin, all those that run it. Thank you to the sponsors that come out and support this league. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks to my wife and kids for letting me do this. Gotta get them in there.
Absolutely. Well, that will be the 31 machine of Eric Warman coming away with a 5th place finish here tonight. Congratulations, Eric. Enjoy this and good luck next week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, as we move away from our interviews here tonight, we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results here this evening as another win goes in hand with the 91 of Jonathan Jennings. He has been so dominant and quick all season long. When he shows up, he's most likely going to find himself in a victory lane. And right behind him is going to be his teammate of Kevin Powell. Great run for both those drivers that look strong, and the top 2 from the drop of the green. Brandon Fenderplace going to finish in 3rd. 4th goes to Andrew St. Cyr, which after the way this race started for himself, I think he's happy with the 4th place finish. Eric Warman going to get his first top 5 finish in that 31. In 5th place with Kevin Thompson, also caught up in that first lap wreck and multiple incidences throughout tonight. I think he's happy with a 6th place finish that almost puts him in the catbird seat of, as long as he shows up and doesn't finish in last, he's going to find himself with the championship for the 2024 Season 1 championship. 7th place goes to the 22 of Michael Hayes, which that's got to be a disappointing finish for the 22 machine. 8th, we find going to be Trevor McLaughlin in the 18. 9th is the 9 of Steven Nomo, who actually got disqualified during this race, but he'll still come away in 9th. And 10th, being one lap down, we see Gary Armio in the 7 machine. A bizarre race, Zach. A lot of wrecks, but hey, it didn't break the record of cautions. And we saw our traditional winner being Jonathan Jennings in victory lane.
That was wild to see a driver DQ and still get 9th. So good job to Steven Bonomo. Was a lot of drivers who had some good race cars, just got caught up in that early wreck, and then a few more after that, like Jamie Horn, Millette. I think those 2 would have been right up in the mix, of course, and it definitely shook up things, so to say, with that very first incident to start this race off there with that 12 of St. Cyr. So it was a wild night. Like you said, didn't break the record for cautions, but is still nonetheless a short track race where, unpredictability, that's a lot of times what you have when you come to these tracks. And I think that's what they had here tonight. I think when we go to Charlotte, though, we're going to see a lot more predictable race.
I think a lot of drivers are expecting the predictable race, hoping for less cautions. As you heard from the admins, they weren't very happy with the amount of cautions that were being thrown here tonight, but expecting that number to lessen next week at Charlotte for the last race of the season. The championship battle now is between the teammates. Will it be Kevin Thompson or Andrew St. Cyr heading into next week? Most likely it's a hand for Thompson, but if there's still a possibility for the 12 if enough drivers show up. Don't want to miss it. That's going to be next week's race. Here's our upcoming schedule. If you have not been watching throughout the week, well, we have 3 nights of coverage. Next week's going to be our last 3 races coverage for a while, as we will have Monday night, the ISRC Truck Series. They're having their last race of the round at 8 to figure out who's going to be joining John Forbes Jr. for the Final 4 at Homestead in 2 weeks. But before we get there, we first have to race at Iowa. A very loose track now with the new update. Don't want to miss Monday night. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Tuesdays, if you'd like to get your cut races covered here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, where we have Tuesdays open, message us on Facebook or on X. On Wednesday nights, we have the WSSR Cup Series. As they just got done with Long Beach, they now head to Michigan to see how well they can run at the 2-mile course before we go back to here on Thursday nights. It is going to be the last race of the season at Charlotte for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Zach, a lot of great racing throughout the week. Can't wait for it. But for tonight, it's all Jonathan Jennings.
That it was. Jennings, from pretty much from the crop of the green to the checker flag, just other than the pit strategies that changed things up. So congrats to him. Probably his most dominant win I think we've seen from him all season long. And definitely, I think flexing that muscle to where if we go to Charlotte, he very well may back up in victory lane. And, that takes the chances of St. Corin, Michael Hayes. It makes those chances drop a little bit. So they got to make sure to be on par with that 91 if they want to go out there, get max points, and try to have an opportunity to get that championship from Kevin Thompson, who, got to say, 6th place tonight. Good job on him, because he could have lost a ton of points. He comes out of here still very, very strong, looking like he's going to be that champion.
Yeah, Kevin Thompson really was able to come back from an uphill battle, and to take away 6th, he'll have to accept that one and be happy with what the gap's going to look like heading into next week. We'll get the updates on the points next week, but it's going to be hopefully you enjoy your weekend. I know we will. It's going to be a lot of great racing action you don't want to miss next week, starting on a Monday. But for tonight, thank you so much for joining with us. If you are out in the chat talking, or if you were just viewing, we appreciate your viewage and being one of our viewers here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, and our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., and for everyone else from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for watching tonight's coverage of the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Race number 15 goes to the 91 of Jonathan Jennings. Congratulations on the win. Good luck next week on the season finale. We cannot wait for it at Charlotte. But if you can't wait until then, we got more great racing action on a Wednesday and also this upcoming Monday for the ISRC Truck Series. Who's making the Final Four? You don't want to miss it. We'll see you Monday night to Iowa for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.